my name's Lexi Exline and I'm here to tell you all about Feisty Fajitas. So pretty much what Feisty Fajitas is, it's a food truck business that sells fajitas, quesadillas, nachos, drinks, and also loaded nachos. The whole idea of it is to provide a different option for people that normally don't have a whole lot of options. So most of the time when you're out at the bar drinking or out late at night, you don't really have a whole lot of options for what's open. You really only have convenience stores and also bar food. And so I'd really like this to be something that would provide you something that's a little more fresh, more local, and more natural. So it's a better experience for the consumer and a better option for them. Now, as you can see, when it comes to marketing a food truck business and owning a food truck business, the Midwest is not quite the best place to own one. Definitely the West and the Northeast is more of a better consumer, but the food market business as a whole is growing extremely fast. By 2017, it should reach over $2 billion in sales. And I also think that the food truck business can also take big advantages of the local trends going on. When you look at the trends for food, the top 10 things are all related to natural, fresh ingredients, local ingredients, sustainable ingredients, and all ingredients that are local, fresh, and freshly prepared. And I think that a food truck can definitely take a hold of that and become even a bigger part of the market. So there is definitely a market for it. I'm not sure if it would be the Midwest as the best place for that. Now, when it comes to breaking down the cost, a food truck actually costs more than you may think. It's also very hard to determine where a startup fee would be because the food truck itself can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000. And so it can be a very expensive startup, but it can also differ extremely. I'd say the best way in order to know what your exact startup cost would be is to have a food truck in mind. That way you know whether it needs some updates, if it needs to be brought up to code or anything like that, and that way you can budget for it better. Because if you don't really have one in mind, you're kind of taking a shot in the dark on where the cost for it will be. Now, for me personally, this startup is not very reachable. The startup fee is just over $100,000, and if that is if you're only putting $60,000 into a truck. With me being a college student, I don't really have a whole lot to put into it since I don't really have a full-time job or anything. Plus, loans from the bank, I won't be able to get that kind of money. So it's not really reachable for me right now, but in a few years it possibly could be. Plus, on top of that, the expenses are just ridiculously high. They're well over $175,000, which that is over budgeting a lot for repairs on the truck and certain things like that, because if the truck were to need repairs or need to be replaced, you want to have that backup money saved. When you take a look at the profit of it isn't a whole lot better at all. You actually end up being in the negative. And that's just because when it comes to fajitas and nachos and stuff like that, they are a pretty low cost item. And so you don't make a whole lot of money when you sell each individual nacho or each individual taco. And so it doesn't quite cover the startup costs and the expenses because they don't quite level out. The only way I can really see having a business plan that would make complete sense and even out better is if you have a food truck in mind. Because if you do have one in mind, you have a better idea on repairs and how much to budget for that. You have a better idea on fuel efficiency for gas. You have just so much more information that can really help you make more inset decisions and know exactly how much you're going to need and how much you're going to spend. There's a lot of numbers that are just kind of estimates and shots in the dark kind of because the ranges are just so big. And so I think that would be very beneficial if somebody were to start up a business like this. But with the current information that I have found and the number estimates that I have used, it's just not a very good idea, I don't think, since you're in the negative constantly and you wouldn't be able to earn your money back because you would be losing money each year. And so I think that you really need to know for sure your startup costs and know for sure your expenses and stuff like that, because that will really give you a better idea on whether it is reachable and affordable, and also probably start it in a better area than the Midwest, since the Midwest has such a small chunk of the food truck market. I would like to thank you for watching and have a good day.